I think we're all quite excited that it could be the so-called flood tunnel booby trap system. Of course, we're going to investigate. We have to see what it looks like.
For centuries, Smith's Cove has been a place full of secrets. Every dig, every excavation promised incredible discoveries, but almost always delivered more questions instead of answers. Hidden structures under the sand, mysterious artifacts, and puzzles that even modern science could not explain made this place legendary and frustrating. But recently, everything changed. During a quieter phase of the investigation, Emma Culligan noticed something tiny, almost invisible, a detail that everyone else had overlooked. Yet this small clue could connect all the pieces that others had missed for decades. If Emma is right, the story of Smith's Cove isn't just incomplete, it has been misunderstood. Historians, researchers, and treasure hunters may have been following the wrong trail all along. The final revelation could completely change the way we see this legend, exposing secrets no one ever expected. Stick around, because what comes next might shock you. And if you love mysteries like this, hit subscribe and stay curious. Still nothing, but Gary Drayton, our go-to metal detector expert, keeps at it. A signal pops up and he digs, unearthing a crusted clump of metal that could be anything. Treasure, a relic, or just a chunk of iron. So encrusted that it's passed on to Emma Culligan for testing. She's probably tired of scrubbing mysterious junk every week. And who could blame her? Week after week, it's hope and excitement crushed into leftover furnace parts. But this time, Emma pauses. Something about this one feels different. Over in the garden shaft, drilling is underway at a new spot labeled HN 15.5. Why here? Dr. Jan Franke had a hunch. A hidden chamber might lie around 127 feet down. They drilled, pulled up dirt that looked utterly ordinary, stared at it like it might wink at them, and declared it normal. Just the kind of thrilling outcome fans have come to expect. No chamber, no tunnel, no secret pirate hallway. Basically, checking your mailbox and finding nothing but junk mail. And just when the confusion couldn't get worse, the team moves into the war room. They meet with Dr. Spooner and other scientists to examine water samples from the garden shaft. Completely clean. It's like someone flipped a switch. Marty Lagina looks ready to tear the place apart with his bare hands. But instead, the scientists shift focus to the Chapelle and Hedon shafts, because when one hole comes up empty, dig another. Meanwhile, Lot 5 is a mess of its own. A massive stone foundation sits in the middle, and Fiona Steele asks Ethan Green and Peter Fornetti to move a rock beneath it. Charcoal, fragments of brick, and mysterious bones surface. Could it be a wild discovery? Maybe. Could it just be industrial-era debris? Almost certainly. But that's not exciting enough for the cameras, so it gets filed into the side notes. Evidence keeps pointing to brick-making, tanning, and mining, but try selling that as pirate treasure. Back in the lab, Emma Culligan and Lair Nan tackle the crusty metal Gary found. Scanning fails, so they go old school with hammer and chisel. Inside, they reveal a mid-1800s stove door. Let that sink in. After all the hype, the big discovery turns out to be an oven part, likely left behind by one of the many crews who've searched Oak Island over the years. Cold? Hungry? Who knows? But it's not exactly Da Vinci Code material. Back at Smith's Cove, the team keeps searching for signs of the Resto family's work. They uncover wooden boards, some newer nails, a stray bolt, and a snapped spike. Nothing screams ancient treasure, but every piece goes carefully into evidence bags. Gary studies the pile, silently willing it to mean something, though cameras make believing a lot easier. Drilling resumes at borehole D.5 to 7.4, where data shows elevated readings for precious metals. Excitement spikes. They drill past 100 feet, strike wood at 102 feet, then again at 108. The soil between appears untouched, possibly indicating a tunnel 8 or 9 feet wide. Could it be something? Maybe. But remember, Robert Dunfield had already torn through this exact area years ago. If a tunnel exists here, it could be the remnant of someone else's old excavation. And let's not forget the stove door. It's not the first to turn up. Fred Nolan found a similar piece beneath Nolan's cross years ago. Clearly, people lived, worked, and cooked on Oak Island. Not everyone was part of a secret brotherhood or pirate crew. Some were just regular workers, making bricks, fixing tools, boiling hides, and that kind of history, it doesn't make for flashy TV episodes. Emma, often the lone voice of science and reason, keeps receiving piles of random scrap metal, nails, stove parts, broken hinges. She examines each with care, because every artifact tells a story, even if it's not the story the team hopes for. And the show's editing doesn't make it easier to focus. Slow motion pans over rusty tools, ominous music swelling, close-ups of furrowed brows. Sometimes it feels like the production team is working harder than the dig itself. Then, just when attention starts to fade, an unexpected metal find pulls everyone back in. Smith's Cove may be hiding more than treasure, but viewers are left wondering why so many industrial-era tools keep showing up. Why does a stove door get more screen time than the fact that this island was a working place? The team keeps casting lines into a pond, long dried up, hoping for one last shiny distraction. Stories of treasure hunters actually striking gold. That's exactly what's unfolding here. Messy, strange, and far more fascinating than anyone expected, especially now that Emma Culligan has introduced a brand new twist. The tide rolls out, rocks slick enough to send you tumbling. Gary and Alex stomp across with metal detectors, eyes bright with anticipation, hunting ship parts, Templar crosses, maybe something truly valuable. And then it happens. They hit something massive. Not a coin, not a rusty nail, but a huge chunk of iron buried deep beneath the rocks, deeper than anyone imagined. It takes serious effort, plenty of shovels, a lot of grunting, and of course, a call to Uncle Rick. Because let's be honest, someone always has to bring in the muscle when you're trying to pull something this massive out of the ground. But here's where it gets really interesting. When they finally pry it free, soaked, filthy and heavy as all get out, they still have no clue what they're looking at. It's just a battered, twisted lump of metal, corroded and beaten, as if the sea itself had chewed it up and spat it out. Definitely not giving off classic treasure chest vibes. Still, they haul it back to the lab, where Emma Culligan takes over. Layer by layer, she scrapes away centuries of grime, corrosion, and crushed hopes, only to reveal something nobody saw coming. It's a door. Not just any door, though. A cast-iron stove door. But strangely, it's not the stove door itself that steals the spotlight. What catches everyone's attention is the starburst pattern stamped right on it. A precise, unusual symbol, one that perfectly matches a button previously found on Lot 5. Suddenly, a random metal slab from one part of the island connects to a tiny button dug up somewhere else entirely. Coincidence? Emma isn't buying it, and honestly, neither should anyone else. There's a serious, someone was here, and they didn't want anyone seeing vibe. Forget pirates with eye patches and parrots. This feels more like secret builders hauling cast iron pieces across rocky shores when no one was watching. Whoever they were, they had a plan. And it was bigger than just digging random holes and hoping for gold. Emma's discovery isn't just another clue. It's a fracture in the story people thought they knew. If these artifacts truly match, it suggests a hidden system beneath the rocks, something organized, large enough to require heavy components and repeated symbols to guide the way. Suddenly, this isn't about treasure anymore. It's about uncovering who crept around Smith's Cove centuries ago and what exactly they were building or hiding. Thanks to Emma's careful eye, the team may be peeling back the first real layer of truth. But the iron door isn't the only thing stirring up the island. What began as a simple stroll along the shoreline has exploded into a full-blown historical mystery. The spot where the stove door surfaced isn't random. This stretch of the cove has been spitting up strange artifacts for years. Iron ship spikes, lead crosses with unmistakable medieval flair, timber cut too precisely to be washed-up debris. Add a stove door to the mix, and suddenly the beach looks less like sand and more like a hidden workshop. Only instead of storing tools, it's been hiding secrets for centuries. The deeper they dig, the clearer it becomes that someone wanted this place buried, not necessarily for gold, but maybe something far more critical: instructions, signals, warnings. Emma isn't dismissing anything. After cleaning the iron door and identifying the starburst design, she starts comparing it to everything recovered over the years. That's when things get truly unsettling. The same starburst keeps showing up, on buttons, stamped into wooden fragments, even faintly etched on old coins. Then there's the depth. It was found 4 feet down, beneath rocks, in a spot that regularly floods. Nobody casually drops a stove door there. That takes effort, planning, and a reason. Maybe it marked a tunnel entrance. Maybe it was a seal. Whatever it wasn't meant to be found easily. And that's exactly why it matters. Every metal object Emma examines brings the team closer to mapping out a deliberately constructed system. A network of codes, passageways, or storage meant to protect dangerous or sensitive knowledge. This isn't recent debris. This iron has been submerged in seawater and silence for centuries. The corrosion tells the story, and now it's speaking louder than ever. Emma isn't stopping there. She's already planning new scans, running tests, hunting for traces of what else might connect to this iron. Was it part of a bigger machine? A trap? The lab buzzes with anticipation. The beach has yielded one door, and now it looks like the rest of the hidden structure is ready to emerge. Buried beams start appearing. Word spreads across the team. Everyone's eyes are glued to the coastline. If one object buried this deep matches features elsewhere on the island, there's likely more. Not just random scraps, but large, intentional pieces, a structure of sorts. Support beams, door frames, even floor remnants. Every day without rain means more digging, more testing, more following the trail left by whoever abandoned this work centuries ago. The energy on the island has shifted. Every detector beep feels urgent. Every shovel scrape draws attention. And Emma is leading the charge. It would be easy to dismiss this as another strange find, another footnote in Oak Island's saga. But this door doesn't feel like a footnote, it feels like a headline. Emma didn't arrive waving a treasure map or chanting pirate songs. She came armed with data, scans, and an expression that made it clear she was already 5 steps ahead. Suddenly, this isn't just another day of digging up rusty nails and driftwood. She points out tiny surprises embedded in the crust, metal fragments fused into the stone-like crust, pieces nobody thought much about until Emma analyzed them. These aren't random scraps. They're iron castings from the mid-1800s. Not pirate-era relics, but still significant. People were down here later than anyone expected. Maybe reinforcing, maybe covering something up, maybe both. And then there's the manganese. That single detail flips everything. The levels push the timeline closer to the 1800s. That may sound boring, but it means someone dragged a stove, or at least its parts, into this flooded pit, left it there, and vanished without a trace. Who does that? Meanwhile, Gary's performing his usual metal-detecting dance, waving that wand like it holds the secrets of the universe. And suddenly, a buzz. Not a soft ping, but a sharp, screaming alert. They pull out a bolt. Big, chunky, suspiciously modern. Not treasure, but enough to get everyone talking. Then another beep, another disappointment. And just like that, the hunt continues. A nail. Modern. Simple, unassuming. But exactly what they needed. Because this wasn't just any nail. It practically shouted, "Remember the Restalls, the family who nearly met disaster digging here in the 60s. They left their mark, literally. Now the team is dealing with ghost tools from treasure hunters past, each scrap of steel seeming to whisper, 'You're getting close. Keep going.' The scramble is intense. They're chasing wooden planks, bolts, fasteners, anything that might reveal the hidden shape of what lies beneath. It's chaos. Helmets clash with beeping detectors. Warped nails get pried from the mud like they've just unearthed Atlantis. Rick Lagina paces like he lost his coffee 3 times. Craig Tester examines every piece of wood as if it personally insulted him. Every theory now pivots around one thing: that vertical shaft. If it's the same one the Restalls poured concrete into before everything went sideways, it could be a direct line to the legendary flood tunnel. The so-called booby-trapped pipeline Oak Island obsessives have speculated about for 50 years. Then someone shouts, "Found something!" They always find something. But this time, it's more wood, right where the shaft should be. Could it be the real deal, or just another wild goose chase? Gary goes back, hitting more bolts, more nails. At this point, you have to wonder, what kind of insane construction site was this? But if it is the Restall shaft, it starts to make sense. And if all the pieces line up, maybe, finally, they're on the right track. Smith's Cove isn't giving answers. It's teasing, pulling them deeper, forcing harder digs, louder arguments, fiercer hope. But Emma changed the game. Without her scans, without that manganese data, they'd still be chasing shadows. Now, there's a date, a purpose, a timeline, and maybe, just maybe, a path forward. The real question isn't how close they are. It's what they'll uncover when they finally get there. Smith's Cove isn't done playing games. That night, the team huddles over maps, notes, and fragments clutched in gloved hands. Lights hum overhead, casting long shadows across dirt-stained blueprints. No one is relaxed. They look like gamblers, realizing the dice might be loaded. But they still have to roll. They argue over wood samples, angles of erosion, inconsistent layers. One insists the grain matches planks from a 19th century shipwreck. Another argues it's from an old barn door. Someone turns a rusty hinge over and over like it will whisper its secrets. It doesn't, but the fact it was wedged far below sea level keeps everyone awake past midnight. Emma's scans come back again. The density patterns in the concretions aren't random. Some look rushed, others deliberate, too precise to be leftover shipwreck debris. Someone built this, and someone didn't want it discovered. Next morning, the digging resumes. Bigger machines, shorter tempers. The mud fights back like it knows it's losing. Every scoop reveals just enough to keep hope alive without giving away the prize. The bolts are pitted, but uniform, clearly manufactured, deliberately placed. One worker pulls a fragment from the muck, a warped curve of iron, maybe a stove leg twisted by time. Not treasure, not gold, not shiny, but the way he holds it, you'd think it was the key to everything. Share your theories in the comments, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more Oak Island mysteries. You won't want to miss what happens next.